So this was as part of the Future Games Show Spring Showcase, which was a thing this week. Here's a couple of highlights from the show. So first is Lego Bricktales, a new diorama-style puzzle game from the Bridge Constructor devs, ClockStone Studio. So it's only confirmed for PC so far, no release date. They have the puzzle game is set across 5 dioramas, which they very strongly all the way through keep on calling them biomes. I think this word biome is taking over like an insane degree.
They should be called Biodome. Bring Pauly Shaw back.
And like if you watch the trailer, and I do recommend anyone who's interested in gaming to go check this trailer out. It's quite cool, actually. They have a like a physics-based. Is it puzzle or is it like almost like a DIY builder? It's probably not super clear at this stage, is it?
No, that's so that basically you're solving puzzles and quests, but a lot of it by building devices, vehicles to solve it. So the trailer at the moment, on anyone watching on YouTube, shows you building a vehicle
like
that
a
has
makeshift helicopter.
Yeah, like a helicopter to be able to get up to the person to find them or whatever. So it's very much in the vein of your Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts.
Yeah, that classic game.
Oh, that's an awesome game. It's just a shame that it's not the game people wanted. That's the only thing. But the actual building part is awesome, and you've seen the influence that's had in other games, like, for instance, Beseige, a game that's I should have played already on Xbox Game Pass as part of my resolution, but that's like taking it further in more like sophisticated direction. And then you got the other way, the simplified, like Kingdom Hearts Gummi ship builder, where you're placing blocks, you're placing propeller here, a cannon there. So just think of that, where you're essentially building these vehicles from Lego pieces, almost in the style of when you look at a Lego manual that you build.
Yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, it looks very cool that way.
It looks really cool, but and I've seen your note here. It's also visually reminiscent of the Lego Builder's Journey, which is not made by these people or published by Thunderclap Studios. We didn't mention that, but it still has that like almost like blank void of space behind them to kind of really put the focus on the actual like the set pieces, the Lego minifigs and everything. So
and I guess where I was coming from, it's almost like it has that kind of style to it. Like it's almost like in a really stupid way. What I'm about to say, these games look like the most realistic games I've ever seen. Like if you look at the graphics, I'm like, damn, it looks super real, but it looks surreal or ultra real or something. Like just the way it's like perfectly rendered, even with like noise effects and stuff. Just look at it, I'm like, wow, this looks really crazy. This could be a really a cracker of a game, I reckon. Like it could be a really zen-like, chill out kind of game.
Well, people love the Bridge Constructor games.
Oh yeah, how many themed games do they have? It feels like
they've done Portal, they've done Walking Dead,
heaps, man. Yeah.
And this year, I think they're a great studio to take on something like this. So I'm looking forward to this. I still need to try out the Builder's Journey, but that game was much more of a slower paced kind of like, you said zen-like. That game was even zen-like or something like this. That was definitely almost like an artistic game in many ways.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I wanted to bring it up because it feels very experimental, that game.
Yeah,
it's like they had a direction of like, we could build another tranche of Lego games. This is kind of like what we're thinking of. Let's put something out there, test it, see if it resonates. And it definitely does. But I mean, it's Lego as well. People love the shit out of Lego. It's like I went to the Lego store today. I'm like, man, people love this fucking brand so much. It might be one of the most beloved brands in the world. Like, you know what? If someone says, what's the most loved brand? And they'll go, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Lego. I honestly don't think someone could top that.
And you know what's funny? They've done that all while still being so ridiculously overpriced. Like Lego's so expensive, but people love it. And it's like you never hear people like, not that there's much discourse, like in the general, like I'm on Reddit, I'm going to see conversations about the price of Lego. You find outside the Lego subreddits, which I've never been to. Mike's probably a big fan of those.
He's probably an admin. But
if anyone doesn't know, Mike has built a PC case out of Lego before that.
Multiple times. That's the crazy thing. And it's it's been on the front page of Reddit.
Mike.
He's freaking
still waiting for that video, Mike.
Yeah. But well, that's the brand value, man. Like how much your own marketing, their brand, just Lego, that would like how many billions would that be worth? just the brand itself.
It's crazy to me. So I was babysitting pretty recently, and my nephew, obviously, all kids love Lego, but
Yeah.
they've got lots of Lego, and they've got Lego that I was playing with when I was their age, because it's been like
that's cool.
passed down to them,
And it survives.
Yeah, it survives, and I'm like, oh man, that's a piece of the pirate ship I got when I was 8 years old. It's
That's
just
cool.
crazy. But I'm just sitting there playing, and I'm thinking, man, like, I'm not going to dox myself, but that's over 30, or maybe 30, who knows? And like, it's 30 years ago, and it's still like, it's obviously Lego's expanded in other areas and stuff way more since then, but it's still the core thing of you're sitting there building things out of these Lego pieces are still, the magic is still there after so long. And obviously it was there well before, I was a kid. I don't know how long Lego's been around, but
yeah, it's like the 60s or 70s or something like that.
it's-
But it
crazy.
did dip actually. Like there was a period of time it dipped, and then it's just taken off again. Like when it went back to its core. I think the only thing that I would say about Lego is I always still prefer when you just have a bunch of blocks rather than like Lego is very kit based now. Like it's very much like this is what you must build, and I find that not very creative. And it's kind of a bit bizarre because their movies themselves criticize that, and that it should be about creativity, but yet like really they push the kits like crazy. Like it's hard to just buy buckets of bricks, and that shit's expensive, man. That's when you really notice how expensive Lego is. When you just try to get a lot of Lego, and you're like, wow, this is going to be hundreds of dollars to get lots of Legos. But yeah, look, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We don't know when this game's coming out, but I'm sure it's going to be on PS5 and Xbox Series and all that kind of stuff. I know they've only said PC so far.
Look, I think even if they scale down the visuals a bit, it makes sense for this to be a Switch game. So.
No, definitely. So